I just want to get a read from the room. Like, are like 10 of us believe it's flat, 5 of us don't. I just
Why does that matter?
Going for a consensus.
I don't know.
So let's go down the list. The YouTube bots, I don't know what they believe because they don't have minds. 20 Cups is a flat earther. I'm a flat earther. Jesus Christ, obviously he's a flat earther. Kingsley, yes, flat earther. Marcus, unknown. Matrix, positive. Matthew, definitely not. Well, he's a hidden flat earther. He knows it's flat. Just won't admit it to himself. We got the Muses bot. We got currently a flat earther unless we play Globe Earther stuff. Relay Criterion, flat earther. Shan, I don't know what your status is, Shan. SpaceX.
I believe it's flat. I can't prove it, but I believe it's flat.
You can't prove it.
Not
Dude,
why can't you prove it?
Maybe you're a much kinder audience that I used to have, but I don't know. I've been in Hangouts and people don't agree with you and your brand.
Yeah, but hold on. Those are two different things. Whether they don't agree with you, that's one thing. Whether you can prove it, that's another thing. Proof doesn't matter if they agree or not.
I worked with satellites a bit, and I know we got images that are basically black with different depths, and we got to color them.
We got images that are flat. What does that mean?
No. They were much smaller. There were images of the Middle East, and basically we were doing studies on the River Nile, and the images came fully black, and we had to they say. They said, what did they call it? Like adjust the data, which is literally we color them. So I know there's a lot of fake data given because we only have a black image with different depths, and the deepest black is the river. You get how editable that is. So I know that there's a lot of room for people to play with data.
Yeah. I mean, but pictures wouldn't prove anything unless those pictures are somehow like verifiable. Like I could show you a picture of like Santa Claus, right? There's lots of pictures of Santa Claus.
Yeah.
But how do we verify there's actually a Santa Claus?
I don't know, but I remember.
And that's not just a guy in a Santa costume or whatever, right?
Yes.
Yeah, bro. Are you from China?
No, I'm not from China.
Oh, you think that's the Avatar?
That's from the movie Kill Bill. Ever seen it? I don't think you're old enough to watch it. I don't think Lime was old enough to watch Kill Bill without parental supervision. But anyway, the only way you can prove what the Earth is measurement. You got to measure it. You can't just fucking look at it. Looking at it isn't good enough. Like you wouldn't like take a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And build it and take a photograph of it and go, look, man, this house is a square or a cube or something. That wouldn't prove the house is a cube. You'd have to go like take a tape measure and measure it, right? The house.
That'd be hard to do.
Well, that's the only way to prove what it is to measure it, right?
Yeah.
The photograph wouldn't do it.
Yes, you got that right. Perspectives.
Okay, so that's what we're concerned with. We're not concerned of people claiming the Earth looks like that or looks like this, because we could just say the same thing. Hey, I took a picture from the Bolivian salt flats and the Earth looked flat. I mean, so what? I mean, it doesn't matter. So what you can do is you can measure. The Earth is supposed to curve, basically, right? It's supposed to curve at roughly 8 inches per mile squared. So if the Earth isn't doing that, then it's not a ball. At least not a ball the size they say it is.
I mean, the model of the ball doesn't work with 7 heavens and 7 earths. It just doesn't work.
The model of the ball don't work at all anyway. Works in people's minds, because that's the only place where it exists. It exists in the mind only. doesn't exist out there in nature. That's really what we try to tell people is that, you can think that Earth's a ball, you can think it's whatever you want, but eventually you have to go out into nature, into the natural world, right? And demonstrate that, whatever that ball or shape is supposed to be, that's what it actually is out there, not on a piece of paper.
But if you think about it, that means Galileo was wrong, and he was the only one who was wrong. Like there existed a time where the majority believed it was flat.
Galileo thought comets were optical illusions.
Can you say that again?
Galileo thought that comets were optical illusions.
Okay, so he was
obviously wrong. He was wrong about a lot of things.
interesting. I remember the beginning of a scientific thinking course.
Well, they tested a lot of some stuff he did, right? They tested like the rotation of the Earth, like at Galileo's time. The way we hear it now is like everybody just believed it, and they're like, "Oh my God, Galileo, you're so smart." But people at the time of his time didn't buy it, and they did things to prove him wrong. And they didn't prove him wrong. Like, you know what they did? They took like a cannon and they stuck it like in the back of a wagon, and they would shoot it straight up in the air. And a cannonball would land back into the freaking cannon. Now, if the Earth is spinning, how's that possible?
Good point.
So they like all sorts of these tests were done. This is back during Galileo's time. So the thing about the globe Earth thing is that like the only thing you'll hear about are the things that work. But there's lots of things that don't work, but you'll never hear about them. The only way you're going to hear about them is if you're in here, because you're going to hear them from us, right? The globe is like a used car. Oh, I want to buy a car. Well, here's a car. The engine's good. The tires are awesome, brand new tires. And the stereo's mint. What they don't tell you is the brakes are failing. The clutch is gone. There's a hole in the gas tank, right? They don't tell you all that stuff. They only tell you stuff that works. That's what the globe is like. They tell you the stuff that works, and the stuff that don't work, you don't even know it exists.
Yeah, at some point. But why do you think governments and like scientific institutions wouldn't admit that? Or do you think they don't
know any? Because they don't know. They don't know any better.
Wow.
Think of any scientist. Which one do you think, out of any scientist that you can think of, actually tested whether the Earth is a globe or not? Actually went out and did an experiment.
It's such a primitive idea. You wouldn't actually think of that every day, but I would point.
Okay, yes, you answered your own question. Why do they think this? Is because they think it's already been figured out and they don't need to test it.
Yeah. If you get your point.
Yeah, I don't need to test that. Somebody else figured it out. They'll say ships over the horizon, air dots, and all the stuff from 2,000 years ago. But if you actually analyze what they're saying carefully, right? So ships over the horizon. Okay. What does that mean? Ship sails away. It disappears hull first, and then the mast, and then the top of the mast, and then it disappears because it went over the curve of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you actually analyze that a little closer, you'll find out that the horizon moves around. So one day you'll go out and it'll be 5 miles away. Another day you'll go out and it'll be 3 miles away. Another day you'll go out and be 30 miles away. So when you see the ship disappear and the horizon is not actually a fixed location, what's the ship disappearing behind? An optical illusion? An Earth that's changing in size? Because how can it be the curvature of the Earth if it's changing? Is the curve changing?
No. Someone told me that that's the projectile of your eye and that light can bend, and that's why it happens. Like you see the curvature because of gravity, not because it exists.
No, I'm talking about the horizon. You know what horizon is?
Yeah, it's like the end of your sight.
Yeah, it's the end of your sight, but people think that's where the curve starts, the curve of the Earth.
Yeah, and that person was trying to explain that that curvature exists because you
That's
see.
not curvature of the Earth, though. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It can't be. And I told you why. Because it moves around.
Yes.
Okay,
I
so
got
if
it.
that's the curve of the Earth and it moves around, does the curve move around?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, okay, because the Earth would have to change size, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so we know that's not possible. So that can't be it. It can't be the curve of the Earth. Because we can observe the horizon being 10 times too far. We can observe it being 10 times too close. Because the globe Earth model makes prediction of where the horizon should be. It's 1.22 times the square root of the observer height in feet. So however many feet high you are, you take the square root of that, you multiply it times 1.22 in miles, and then you'll have the horizon distance, what it's supposed to be. But you'll never actually see it there. You'll see it everywhere but there. You'll see it 10 times farther away.
That's interesting.
I'll show you. I'll show you right now. I'll show you these oil rigs, right? So these oil rigs, they're 10 miles away from the camera. Just give me a second to pull it up.
Take your time.
Yeah.
I had a friend though. Like he made a statement that I don't find too extreme. I'm not sure what to believe at this point, but he told me,
So just hold that up for 1 second. We'll get in the side chat.
yeah,
Okay. So this camera is 8 feet above the ocean water. Now the globe Earth says that the horizon from 8 feet should be like 6 kilometers away, something like that. 8
it,
feet is like 1.6 meters. Okay.
that's not 6 kilometers. I think that's a bit
Oh,
more.
the furthest oil rig is like 16 kilometers away.
Mm-hmm.
The horizon should be 3.4 kilometers away. Now, if you look closely at this video, you can actually see land beyond the oil rigs. Okay, where the horizon is. That land is 30 miles away, which is about, I don't know, 48 kilometers or something. So the horizon is like nearly 48 kilometers away, but it's only supposed to be, not even 4 kilometers away. So why is the horizon so far away? That's where the curve of the Earth is supposed to start, like you were saying, right? This is what people think. But the horizon is not the curve of the Earth. Horizon is created visually by a small angle of view and the meteorological condition, whatever that is, depending how dusty, how much water vapor, how clear the air is, the humidity, the temperature, all these things they create the horizon, the combination of all these things.
Yeah, I see your point.
So I'm just saying is if you take an average scientist, right, and they think, oh, is the Earth the globe? They go, okay, ships over the horizon. They might see a video and they go, oh shit, yeah, that's the curve of the Earth. And they're just taking it at first glance, just saying, hey, it's curve of the Earth. I don't have to investigate any farther. I saw that video. I know the Earth's the globe. I saw that. But they never investigated whether the claim that the horizon is the curve in the first place, whether that's true. And it's not true. That's the thing. So that's just one example of why they don't investigate. I've talked to PhDs, and Matthew Lawrence, who's in here, he ain't a PhD, but he teaches at university. He's a professor.
Okay.
So like we talk to academics, scientists, you name it. We talk to people, and typically, invariably, and Matthew can confirm this, they don't actually know anything about. They don't know anything about this subject. They don't know
That's true.
anything.
No, I agree.
Yeah, go ahead. What was that, Matt?
That's true. I agree. They don't know much about the flat Earth or the globe Earth ideas. I did my own research, but most people don't.
Yeah, Matt is yeah, I'll give Matt credit. He's actually put some work in. He didn't just like ChatGPT his way through this shit. So, credit for that.
I'm sorry, I was cut off.
Indio.
You said you talked to scientists and
Yeah,
math.
Matthew learns. He teaches at he teaches mathematics course at university.
Professor, you said,
Yeah,
and
he's just
they-
confirming that most.
I teach. Yeah, I teach mathematics part-time at a local university. And I'm a Glober.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah,
I
she's a
thought
Glober.
like physics and math people would figure it out first.
They could,
Yeah,
but like you said, most people just think, "Oh, it's an old idea. I don't need to investigate it."
probably.
They
But
just automatically believe it because they think everybody else believes it. And they
Yeah,
think, well, if everybody believes it, then there must be a good reason to believe it. So I'm going to just believe it too. They never really thought about it at all.
I don't think this is up to democracy. Like you should prove that shit.
I agree.
But I had a friend that he told me you would disrupt a lot in the system. And I asked him how so. And he said to agree that it's a flat earth, that means that, which I didn't know, like I didn't understand why he made that connections. But he said that means that we're not revolving around the sun and like the planets will be revolving around the earth, and also discredits the moon landing. And he kept like he jumped from one point to another, and I did not understand why is that related. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, there's consequences to saying that the Earth is flat because now it's not a sphere and it doesn't spin on its axis and it's going around the sun and the moon is in orbit around the sun. It changes the whole cosmology.
Yes, he referenced that before Galileo, it was not a heliocentric design. Actually, the Earth was the center of the design, and you have the sun on like.
Well, to be fair, so hold on. To be fair, okay, you're talking about the West, okay, but you're not talking about the world. So the world did not think the Earth was a globe. So it started in Greece. So some Greeks thought the Earth was a globe. Okay. And then as time progressed, some Persians and some Greeks thought the Earth was a globe. And then that kind of permeated through Europe. But the rest of the world thought the Earth was flat until the West, people from the West went to their countries and, I'll be nice and say they introduced it. Though they introduced it with cannonballs and fucking gunpowder.
Yeah. Shared it.
It's one way of progress. Like, yeah.
They painted up the cannonballs with globes and then shot it through their teepees or whatever.
It's interesting. I wish I understood more about that kind of science. But I know this. I'm a developer. I do a lot of coding, and I know that Google used to, much like airplane systems, they used to have a 2D system. So they didn't use any kind of I don't know. Like you can see a linear Earth, and they used to like map their systems based on that. And I think
Still do.
Matthew can correct me here, but this is just the difference between the Cartesian and the polar methods. Like there's equation to convert that globe kind of map into a flat map. There is no problem with that. Like it's another perspective as far as math concerned. Is that right?
Yeah, we know all that. We know that the map is just an arbitrary coordinate reference system. Doesn't mean anything. You choose Cartesian coordinates. Now the Google Earth uses the web. It's called the Web Mercator. So it's a Mercator map, which makes the Earth like a cylinder. So Google Earth's a cylinder that's wrapped on a ball. Got it? So,
Yeah,
it's just the way it is, right? So, you know this from video games, right? You could take any like little 2D fucking image and wrap it on any wireframe 3D model that you want, right? You just, project it and wrap it around there.
exactly.
So it doesn't, none of that crap, like, but people, we get a lot of is like, hey, dude, if I look at Flight Aware 24 and it shows a plane flight, the plane's path is curved, so the Earth has to be a ball. Like, no, you're looking at a Mercator map, and if you put a straight line on that, it's going to appear curved. If it's traversing the coordinate system that they chose, this dual pole coordinate system, right? When you do that transformation, the geometric transformation, that's the way the line's going to look. And then I have to show them, right, a polar coordinate system, literally from pilots in the cockpit of an airplane, that shows that they're taking a straight line, right? So in that projection, it's a straight line. You switch it to Mercator projection, it looks curved. But they think the plane is actually flying a curved line. They take that idea, right, that mathematical construct, and they reify it and think that that's what's happening in the real world, right? As opposed to just having like arbitrary coordinates assigned to places. Well, they're not arbitrary; they're based upon the celestial sphere. But you know what I mean. That like that shit is not real. There is no objectively true map. There's only choices of coordinates. That's it. And you can place things relative to some other thing following some rule, and that's all you can really do.
But I'm sorry, can I like highlight a phrase you just said? There's objectively no true map?
No. This is called the map territory problem. You ever hear this?
No.
A map is not the territory. To make 100% accurate map, that map would be as big as the territory you're making the map of. Right?
Oh, you don't need a carbon copy.
Well, I'm just saying, it's got, like, no map can be absolutely true, because you're going to pick and choose the things that are important to include in the map, and things which need to be, you choose things that you have to throw away that can't be displayed on the map. So we'll take a map, right, and then like, now how you want to take it this way, for instance. Now, say I have 2 points on a map, and we have topography like a mountain.
Yeah.
Now, how far away are those 2 points? Well, I could drive over the surface and drive up one side of the mountain and down the other. And if I was going to put that on a flat map, how am I going to show that distance? But then there's the crow's fly distance of how far away those points are, as to how far the crow would fly. And then there's the distance to what it would look like if I was like taking a photograph of it. Okay, projecting to a point. So you would have a central projection with parallel lines, or you could have a single a 1 point observer perspective, like taking a photograph. And then how I make that map, like how I display those distances, is going to be different for each one, right? So you're arbitrarily choosing how you want to display the map based upon what you want to show. But none of those maps are wrong, and none of those maps are true. They're correct for their purpose, but they're not correct for all purposes. You understand?
Yeah. Like you can have a right map, but it's not as accurate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're going to throw out, like, if you don't want to display the topography, like the actual ground distance, the surface area, right? If the ground is lumpy, you're going to have more surface area than if the ground is smooth. But my map, my piece of paper is smooth.
Mhm.
So how am I going to show the ground distance, the actual surface area of the terrain, and how far you would actually have to travel if you walked or drove a car? Because you're going to walk according to the, say you have to go up and down hills. It'd be different if I was walking, like, say there's like I said, a mile between points and it's flat. That's just a mile. But if there's up and down hills, I might have to walk freaking 2 miles to move along that 1 mile, right? So we're choosing what we want to display. That's the point.
I see. And does it have to do anything with the moon landing?
Well, the moon landing is just bullshit. I don't even know what to say about that. Ray, hold on, Ray. Should I bring it up? Should I bring up the fucking Greenpeace?
Yeah, I mean, get the lights out in the shadows. I mean, the only real relevance I
No,
can
did you
see
hear
is
that earlier, Jedi?
no,
Why
I missed it. What was that?
why they couldn't do the tapes anymore? The moon
Why?
tapes? Why they had to tape over them and they lost all the moon tape? Oh, because they couldn't. Because to make the tapes, they had to hunt whales.
What the fuck?
Because the material that like some substance came from whales to make the tapes. So they banned whaling.
Oh God.
So
okay.
the moon. So Greenpeace is the reason we don't have the evidence of the moon.
That's fucking brilliant. Oh wow.
And the thing is, I'm not joking. I'm actually being serious.
I know you know.
I can't wait to drop this on a normie, dude. I'm like, man, the moon landing's fucked up, man.
Hey,
they lost all those
you got
tapes and the
it
evidence.
there?
And it's fucking Greenpeace's fault. And they're going to look at me like I'm crazy. Like, Greenpeace? What's Greenpeace got to do with the moon landing? Well, let me tell you something. Yeah. So they lost all the moon landing tapes. You know that, right?
The one that was
all the tapes.
I know there was a case that was advertised on TV where
3,600 boxes of tapes gone.
Oh, tapes. Okay.
Tapes. So like all the recordings, the evidence, the proof they went to the moon, the dog ate it.
Okay.
I'm dead serious. You can go read the NASA report on like what happened to the tapes. Oh, we just lost them. We taped over them. We did this. We did that. We threw them away. We lost them in the couch. The dog ate it.
It's all the stuff with all the computer readouts that are recorded, all of the telemetry data, right? All of this stuff that was recorded on tape. It's gone.
Magnetic tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's according to IBM, they're still considered the most lifelong or like long-lasting form of storage so far, and I don't think
not if you can't find them.
Or tape over them.
Yeah, but I was done when I heard about the case, like the court case from I think it was the guy was from Texas and he was the congressman and he was killed and his wife and a lot of people in the case, and I was like, okay, this is enough evidence for me.
Oh, the NASA guy. I know what you're talking about. The one that was investigating Gus Grissom's murder.
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember the names.
Yeah,
but I know
that's what it is.
Yeah.
He was murdered for investigating a murder.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, the proof that they went to the moon, which would be the telemetry data, which shows you where the rocket actually went. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would prove the moon landings happened. They lost it. That's what they say. They lost it. They taped over it. They lost it. It's gone.
I remember we were invited to a conference once, and we were watching drones race or like having a challenge of who can. They were not drones. They were like RC cars, yeah, and they were challenged to run for 1 kilometer on the surface of the moon, and I was like, how come? Like, how can you get the RC cars there? And if you check the project with the font of a size 4, I guess, because you have to squint to see such font, it says that the space conditions and moon conditions are recreated on Antarctica. So this is all on Earth, but with the smallest font, with the biggest headline, 1 kilometer race on the moon. You see how deceiving that is?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's all propaganda and bullshit to keep the narrative alive and in people's minds.
But I get it. Like I get why they had to fake a moon landing. It was a space race between the Russian, Soviet Russia. You don't want to appear as like less. You want to be the more advanced country. I get that, and we did reap the benefits a lot. Like a lot of internet technologies came from that space project. I have to admit that because like
The internet came from DARPA. Didn't had nothing to do with space. Had to do with the Cold War and not wanting communications to have a single point of failure. But what you said about the United States, we got the documents, bro. So when NASA was formed, they said the classified documents on what their motivation for forming NASA are public information now. They said that they just wanted the rest of the world to think that we were technologically superior so that no one would attack us.
Mm-hmm.
So Yoder, he's a flat earther. He's one of us. I don't know. It might be in my DMs. He might have sent them to me, but he's got the actual documents that show it. What they said at the time. They used to be classified. They're not anymore. They said that it's basically a psychological operation to project power and the idea of technological superiority so that no one will rise up against us as a competitor. Basically,
Hasn't President Trump moved that agenda along recently? Saying that NASA's like a spy and surveillance agency and a few other things.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But still, they have like I understand why this is happening. Like this, I consider this some kind of political scheme, right? But when it comes to flat Earth, like what do you benefit from it?
I'll tell you.
The lie. Like what do you benefit here?
Oh, what do you benefit about the lie? I don't know. There's lots of things, dude. Right.
Do you think if we knew, we would tell you? We'd be freaking in on the grift, dude. What are you talking about? Getting my money.
I don't know, man. I had a friend, and he was like the very same friend that was making the link with the moon landing and the Earth being in the center and stuff like that. He said the same bullshit is happening with genetics, and I told him how come, and he was like the idea of us evolving from the apes and stuff like that. And I said there's a lot of scientific papers written based on that, and he was like, yeah, I can write a paper opposing that, and I can find people to endorse it. That's no problem. But he told me as a religious, or like he follows the Abrahamic faith. So he tells me the Abrahamic faith has a start. There is Adam, there's Eve, and this is how humanity started. So you have kind of an alternative story, a fake one. And still I asked him why, like who would benefit from that? And I'm not sure at this point. I believe him. I don't believe it started from the apes.
Okay, I'll tell you, dude.
The idea of God.
Yeah. So your friend, assuming it was a friend,
He is.
well, listen. He has a point, well. Right? So the current cosmology, they have a creation story, right? How reality was created. Does the Bible? Yes.
Right? Is still there?
They say the Big Bang created everything. They have a story how man was created. The Bible says God formed Adam out of the dust of the earth, and their creation story is man arose by evolution from a black fucking goo slime pond that got struck by lightning or some shit.
I'm sorry. I was cut off. You said your friend, and I said he means well. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
No, what I said was
the majority of what you said, though.
Yeah, so I'll start from the beginning. They have a creation story in the modern so-called science. The Big Bang.
Yeah.
That created the universe. Just like in the Bible, God created the universe. In the beginning, the Lord God said, "Let there be light." Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Right? So,
yeah.
They have a creation story. The science have a creation of man story. How man was created. Yeah, we evolved from from apes. Right? And in the Bible creation story, God created man out of the dust of the earth. Right? So they both got that.
Okay.
Okay, so the claims of the Bible, can you figure them out yourself, or do you have to rely on priests and prophets? Yeah, right. You get like in the Bible is prophets that tell you the word of God, right?
Yes.
Okay. Who tells you the Earth is a globe? Can you do that yourself, or do you got to rely on other people?
Mostly.
You got to rely on astronauts,
Yeah.
because they're the ones that claim they've seen the Earth as a globe, right? Everybody else is just believing on them. So it's the same thing, right? There's these special people. They have the special knowledge you don't, and you can't get it. It's the same thing. It's all the same, right? And as far as like why would people want you to believe that nonsense? Is you got to think of where it leads to. It leads to freaking nihilism and solipsism, that life has no meaning, and that you're a small speck of dust on an infinite, uncaring universe, right? And on top of that, you have to believe this other thing, which is particularly insidious. And I harp on this a lot because I think it's very fucking important. That you have to believe your entire experience of reality is an illusion. So when you go to the ocean and you observe the Earth to be flat, that's an illusion. It's actually a giant fucking ball, and you can't see the giant ball. You only see something flat, but that's not the way reality really is. It's some other way. So you can't rely on your eyes to determine where you are. And then they say the Earth is spinning. The sun's not moving. You're moving. The stars aren't moving, you're moving. The moon's not moving, you're moving. So now reality is exactly the opposite of what you see.
Exactly.
You can't trust that either. So what do you trust? That you can't trust yourself and trust your senses? So you get the drift. So let me tell you something that happened for real 2 days ago. Kid came in here. He said, give me a credible source that the Earth is flat. I said, you. He said, no. What do you mean me? I said, oh, well, if you go to the ocean looks flat, right? He said, yeah. I said, okay, yeah, you're your credible source. He was like, no, I'm not a credible source. He literally just started throwing his own self under the bus so that I could give him some other person to tell him what reality was. That he couldn't rely on himself to figure out what it was. That he needed to go, hey, I don't know anything. I need some fucking someone smarter than me to tell me what everything's about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's the purpose, is to freaking basically turn you into a mental fucking slave.
Interesting. I mean, my friend got there in a different route, but he got to the kind of the same conclusion. He was like, they're creating, and I'm not sure who are they, but he said they're creating systems that are fully fake, and you get lost in them, and you're very far from reality.
They're telling you reality's fake. I mean, people say to us, well, you gonna think gravity's fake? They're literally saying the reality's fake. I go to the ocean. I go to any ocean or large body of water go to. It's flat on its surface. It looks flat. It's measured as flat. It's used as flat. But all that is fake. That it's actually a big ball. Why? Because some fucking special astronaut said they saw the Earth as a ball when they got on a giant fucking Roman candle and flew really high in the air. And then, trust me, bro, I saw a big ball. Or I can just rely on myself and go, well, I didn't see a big ball. I have no reason to fucking trust your bullshit. You're a fucking government agent. You're in the military, sworn to whatever they want to swear you to. And no, I don't have to believe that bullshit story.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So that's what people get confused, as if they're being forced to believe that the Earth is a globe, and people say, "Oh, who's hiding the flat Earth?" It's not being hidden. It's right out there in front of your face. You choose individually to go, I don't believe. I want to believe something else. Someone said the Earth is a globe. I see it flat. I don't care about that. I want to believe what this person said. Instead, they choose that. Now maybe they don't. Maybe they chose it when they were a little kid, when they were 5 years old in kindergarten. They chose it then, and they never revisited the idea. But at some point in time, they chose it. They chose to believe that because they sure as hell weren't shown any evidence that it's true. No one showed you evidence in kindergarten the Earth is a globe. No one showed you in first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, whatever grade. Nobody showed you anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you're taking that perspective, they feed the other like the global idea is fed through movies, through schools, through everything. Like,
Everywhere. It is everywhere.
that's the default, yeah.
So let me tell you this. When I first realized the Earth was flat, that was literally the first thing I noticed, is to how much globe, astronaut, space, imagery, propaganda, stories, how much it was surrounding me. It's everywhere. It's like you can't get away from it no matter where you go. You turn the TV channel, go on the internet, read a book, go in the bookstore. It's everywhere. You're completely surrounded by it. And I never realized it before. It's like think about it like this. Say you're in a secular country, and then you go to a foreign country that's like really hardcore into some religion. And like they have like, say they're like Buddhist or something, and everywhere you go, there's fucking little Buddhas everywhere, and mandalas, and fucking prayer bowls, and all the stuff that goes with that religion, and it's everywhere, surrounding you everywhere. Of course, you're gonna notice because you're from another country, you're not used to seeing that. So
Yeah.
I'm from America. I'm used to seeing like globe stuff and all that all around me, and I never noticed until I realized all that was nonsense. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm underwater in this stuff.
It's like
Look,
in
bro,
that movie, They
I walk
Live.
by
when old
a
mate puts the
van.
glasses on.
Yeah, exactly, Matrix. Exactly. It's like freaking They Live, man. And like I go by like a place, it's a plumbing store, and it's like global plumbing. What the fuck does plumbing have to do with a globe?
I don't know.
You see what I'm saying? It's like people use it in advertising because they think, oh my God, people. Well, oh, I know what we can do. I want people to think that we're modern and high tech. So we'll throw a globe on the side of the van. We'll call ourselves Global Plumbing, and people will fucking call off the hook, dude. It's like advertising.
But it's synonymous. Like they can call themselves international and will give the same idea. They don't have to use the globe.
They could call themselves quantum too. They could call quantum plumbing, right?
You'd be surprised people do that.
Yeah, I know. I know. That's why I brought it up. So they could call it scientific plumbing, right? They could call it any number of stupid shit that's like that's in modern society.
Mhm.
Evolutionary plumbing, that would be cool. How about dino plumbing? Plumbing dinosaurs. Freaking.
I mean, everything has an AI tag these days.
It's never referred to as Earth either. It's always referred to as a globe.
Yeah. Not Earth warming, global warming. Around the globe. It's a global community.
Global warming, yes. I did not realize that.
It's the global village about 10, 15 years ago.
Dang.
Everything's branding these days, right? They want to sell it to you. It will sound cool. Might even sound in these instances with scientific, like it's comes from some type of authority, because they can slap words around it. Even with like the letter I, like these days we get sold a lot of things, right? We get sold this dream, but yeah, it's the propaganda tools everywhere.
True. I used to believe in scientific papers, but I know that they're not all accurate. Like
And they contradict each other and have different ideas.
exactly. You can easily find papers that are canceling each other.
I mean, modern science is in crisis. I think everybody knows that. It's falling apart. The wheels are coming off that wagon.
I think people who got to like go through further studies realize that, but mostly, like the most people would believe modern science still. Like they don't know how much, like how credible the papers are or not. They think this is a product
Well,
of.
hey, let me tell what was the last great actual scientific achievement? An actual one. The last
Actually,
great scientific discovery. When was that?
it's very specific though, because I used to check the history of Nobel Prize for Science specifically, and there's stuff like
I mean, like fundamental shit, dude. Like fundamental physics.
no, nothing that big. I think you go back to Einstein being like discovering the photons and proving radiation
Well,
stuff.
think about this: is that
Penicillin.
science kind of got solidified, like frozen, in between like 1908 and 1928. Like all the ideas, quantum physics, relativity, special relativity, all these ideas, they come from that like a time period. That time period. And since that time period, and they came up with those ideas, there's been almost no actual progress in fundamental physics. Now they've added freaking bells and whistles to the standard model and, you know, bullshit that no one cares about. But they don't know, which is the standard model is probably fucking wrong. And I could go into why it's wrong. The standard model of particle physics is because there's a value that from which all that is calculated, and that value is unknown and not actually correct. And they actually cheated to even have a value. It's called the G. It's called the G factor, and it's based upon what's called Larimer precession. Larimer is a guy, so the guy detected that just like the precession they say of the Earth, right? That the Earth wobbles. They say that electrons wobble, and this is kind of how nuclear magnetic resonance imaging works. So, based upon this wobble, it has a certain energy, and if that energy has one value, then that for the standard model to be correct, this has to have a certain value within some range. And the thing is, they know this, and they've been fudging that value for fucking 60, 70 years. It's a very hard value to calculate. So what's happened is they did the test to find the value. And then that test revealed that their calculation and that value did not match. So because it's like a, like a 12-order polynomial equation, and this is pre-computers, then they have to calculate. So they calculate another polynomial, and then they have another value. Then they do an experiment, and that's wrong. Well, first it's right, and then it's wrong. It's very funny. But the thing is, well, there's a guy named Freeman Dyson. He was a famous physicist at Princeton. He was so aggravated by what they were doing in physics is that he quit. He quit physics and went to be an astronomer. Okay. So it was highly controversial at the time, but it's something that's forgotten about now. Things like neutrinos, like there's all sorts of shit that are wrong. But the point is that the fundamental physics, it hasn't progressed any. We're still stuck in ideas from the 20s. 100 years ago, we're stuck in those. And are we going to sit here and say, oh yeah, because they're right? Do you think they're going to still say they're right in 500 years? Like 500 years from now, they're like, oh yeah, 20th century, they fucking figured it all out, man. What a good century.
No,
No, they're not going to say that. They're going to say those dudes were fucking retards. Just like we say people are retards from 500 years before us, right?
I mean,
You got to think, dude, that everything you think you know is true right now is probably wrong.
but I believe that like some of the Middle Ages were they had some decent discoveries. If you go back to Plato, Aristotle, they had a functioning model.
What? Functioning model of what? What did Plato and Aristotle have a model of? They were philosophers. If you're talking about like a globe model, that was Eratosthenes, and they used something called epicycles. Or not Eratosthenes, Ptolemy. But that's not important. Just because you have a working model, we just talked about this, reifying the mathematics and saying the mathematics is real. That's a reification fallacy. And yeah, that's no go.
Yeah, I actually heard the same argument about the theory of relativity because it works at some point and other points it doesn't, and that doesn't work mostly in like science. That's not how it should go. But you seem to be like you know more about the topic, and I have a final question. I watched the documentary on Netflix that tried to prove it was flat. You remember that? Okay.
Yes, we're well aware of it.
Why didn't it work? That magnet they got at the end, or I can't remember what kind of device.
The fiber optic gyro.
Okay.
Is that what you're talking about? There was two things. There was Jeranism, and he did. There's supposed to be a laser test. The laser melted, so they used a flashlight because they had like 100 people there. They didn't want to just fucking do it for no reason. They didn't want the people to just completely waste their time. They're like, fuck it, we'll try it with a flashlight. And obviously it didn't work with a flashlight. And couldn't have worked, and probably wouldn't even have worked with a laser because it's too hard to actually accurately line up the holes. Think of how hard that is to line up holes that are like 1.6 kilometers apart, that are 8 inches around.
As long as the divergence rate of the light beam wasn't too big, they should have been able to do it with a laser, as long as it was strong enough to go that far.
Yeah.
Like if it was only a pissy little laser, then you just go, yeah, nah. But if it was one of those high-powered bastards that they're using to go across lakes and shit like that,
Maybe. I mean, maybe, but you know.
And the gyro didn't work because.
Well, first of all, Bob, the person in that place, he never did the test. He never actually owned a gyro. It was other people. And the results he said they got are not what they got. He was misinformed. So that gyro was owned by a person named Rick Zimmerman. His name on YouTube was Seventh Day Truth Seeker. They nuked his channel during COVID because he spoke up against that shit. So they nuked his channel. So he's the person that actually owned it. It was a fiber optic gyro, cost about $7,000. And they never measured 15 degrees per hour, and they couldn't have done that because you would have to be at a pole to actually measure that. And I don't think he was at the North or South Pole. So the Netflix people that made that admitted that because there was flat earthers on there teaching their kids to be flat earthers, they felt a moral duty to basically turn it into a fucking hit piece.
Interesting, but doesn't the flat Earth model assume there's only one pole? Like if you have the North Pole, you don't have the South Pole.
There's no flat Earth model.
Yeah, there's no flat Earth, and the pole thing is just a reification, dude. You can freaking take New York City and say this is the North Pole and create a whole coordinate system based upon that.
Okay.
The pole is not the Earth. The pole is the stars. Understand?
Not really, but let me ask you this.
Okay, well, what's it? How would you know you're at the North Pole?
With a compass.
Let's say you're lost. You don't know where you are, and you want to go to the North Pole. How do you know when you got there?
Wouldn't you test that with a compass?
No.
No.
It's not the same
come
thing.
on, there's a red and white candy cane in the middle of it. You know exactly when you're there.
When you find Santa's workshop. Fucking jackpot.
The altitude of the sun doesn't change.
We're looking to get to the North Pole. There's a star called the Pole Star. Do you think that when we get to the North Pole, we'll know that we're there when we look up and Polaris is above our head?
Okay, so the South Pole doesn't mean that we are on the like a line on the other side. It just means that we're on a star
Under
that
some
defines the
different
South Pole.
stars. Yeah, we're just under some different stars, dude.
Interesting. I did not see it that way.
Here, I got something for Santa's Widow Workshop.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks.
Hey, Matrix,
Thanks
look
for
at the chat.
explaining all of that. I mean, it's a lot clearer now.
Ah, very nice.
I had AI make this.
Santa must have delivered that to the wrong house.
New gun manufacturer, Santa's Workshop.
You'd have to name the gun Santa's Little Helper.
You got it.
All right. I think I should bounce, but
Okay, so listen, hey, just to tell you, this isn't our main server. This is kind of like a road trip thing we do. So our main server is 24/7 Flat Earth Discord. The invite is discord.gg/Flat Earth. We have information channels there in alphabetical order A through Z. Everything you could possibly imagine to think of has been covered there. Right. So in the information channels, they're not chat channels. They're just information channels. So you can basically, they have videos to peer-reviewed sources. They have videos to academics. They have all sorts of shit, dude. Like, you have to see it. They cover every possible aspect of this topic and then some.
That'd be really cool. Flat Earth is just written Flat Earth. Is it?
Yeah, one word. Yeah, one word. Discord.gg/Flat Earth.
No capitals.
No capitals, no.
Okay.
Also, if you go on into Discover, like server discovery, and type in Flat Earth, you'll get it. It's the one with the most people on it.
I found it.
Yeah, cool. Awesome.
Perfect. I'm gonna check that out later.
All right. Good talking to you.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks a lot, man. Jedi too. Right.
See you around, buddy.
See you around.
We need more people like him.
Yeah, he was a good lad. Good questions. He's obviously been across the subject before and been speaking to his mate about it and whatnot. So I've obviously come in a little bit far into the conversation. But yeah, it seemed like a good
Yeah,
lad.
it's pretty much the same. Going over the same type of stuff. The someone I met thing. Someone I know.
Yeah.
When he first said that, Indio, that it was one of his friends, I just got this image of you lowering your head down so you could see over the top of your glasses, as if to say, yeah, right. And the reason I say that is I did the exact same thing myself. I was looking at one screen, like looking through my glasses, reading the text, and then I heard that and I just looked at the other screen, tilted my head down. It's like, yeah, nah, this is for you. Oh, shit. He might be legit. He didn't lose his shit, so that's a good start.
I think about what's next. What's he going to say next? Which way is this going to go?
But you can tell the difference between the ones that are honest about it and that are sensible about it. Like, look at him. He was asking all sorts of random weird shit. It's not like he wasn't asking stuff that we've never heard before. He was asking all the usual weird stuff, and he was cool, calm, and collected the whole way through. Whereas others will ask weird stuff, and you can hear them giggling in the background and carrying on like idiots. And when they don't get the answer that they like, they have a flip out. He was pretty chill.
Yeah, I think he's listened to us before or something. I highly doubt it if he just came up with that out of nowhere. That it was organic. I don't really think so.